Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Gonna be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Granada in the Europa League quarter-final first leg. Victor Lindelof was alongside Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the press conference. So I'm going to give you some of the questions Lindelof was asked and give you his responses to them. Then I'm going to give you the questions Solskjaer was asked and I'm going to give you his responses. So, these were Lindelof's questions. This was the first one that was asked to him. It's a big match coming up. You've been involved in some frustrating cup exits in your time at United, and how keen are you on making your mark in this competition? Lindelof's response to that was, obviously, we got into this game with the mentality to win it and to go through. You know it's a game where we want to go there and perform. We know it's going to be a tough game first and foremost. Win the game so we can get a good result for the second leg. Obviously, every time you play in a competition, you go in because you want to win it. Like you said, we haven't quite been able to do that in the past, but hopefully we can perform a bit better this season. That was his response to that first question. This was the second question. The manager's talked about you playing in some discomfort and about your back. I just wondered how that is, and B, we talk about goalkeepers all the time at the moment. Does it make any difference who plays behind you when you've got two good goalkeepers like De Gea and Henderson? So his response to that was, I feel very comfortable with both of them. I think every time they've played, they've performed at a very high level. We have great goalkeepers, and I think that's always good for a team, that you have that competition. My back I've been having some problems with, but I feel much better than I did before. This was the final question that was asked to Lindelof. Harry played his 100th game for United against Brighton. How do you feel that partnership is coming together between you and Harry, and where do you feel you are with your game at the moment? So Lindelof's response to that question was, I feel fine. We've been playing a lot of games together, and the more you play together, the more you get to know each other as well. I think we've been performing well, keeping some good clean sheets as well against strong teams. I also feel like I'm performing well at the moment. I feel fine, I feel fresh, and I'm just happy that I'm able to play and help the team. So yeah, so they are Lindelof's questions and his responses. Yeah, Lindelof has done quite well recently, but I still have my strong reservations about him. Yes, he has been out of a back problem recently. You know, Lindelof's been at the club since 2017. You know, we got him in a deal worth 31 million from Benfica. He'll obviously be in contention to play in this game against Granada because Bay's not available because Bay's out with COVID. Anyway, these were Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's questions that were asked to him. Is Marcus Rashford fit enough to start? And I'm sure this won't be the first question you get on this, but who will be in goal for you tomorrow night? Ole's response to that was, I can't disclose the team now. Of course, we're not going to do that, but Marcus is travelling and we've just got to make a decision tomorrow if he starts or if he's on the bench. I don't think he'll be a 90-minute man, so let's see where he's at tomorrow. And with the keepers, that's the same. I've got two very, very good options, and whoever plays will play well, I'm sure. So yeah, that was a fair response from Ollie to that question. So yeah, Marcus Rashford is travelling. You know, Solskjaer's basically saying he's not going to play the full 90 minutes if he is involved. Marcus Rashford played against Brighton, obviously scored our equaliser, but he came off injured. He didn't look fully fit anyway. Rashford's become injury prone because he's sustained a few injuries now at Manchester United. And I think Solskjaer will go with Dean Henderson tomorrow. Dean Henderson has started our last 7 games in a row, so if he's in goal tomorrow, that'll be his 8th game in a row. I think he's our number one now. And I said anyway, Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one goalkeeper because he's got that experience behind him. He did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And he's done well in the games he's played in this season. You know, he's made good saves. He's kept a lot of clean sheets. His distribution's been good. And he's made good aerial claims. He was in net against Brighton recently. He produced a good save to deny Danny Welbeck, but couldn't really do aught about the rebound. He looked a bit shaky from corners though against Brighton. There was one part where he actually dropped the ball from a cross. He may go with De Gea tomorrow. De Gea hasn't been in goal now for a while. De Gea is still a very, very good goalkeeper, even though he has made mistakes in the last couple of years. A few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club and he's made over 500 appearances in all competitions. He's been at the club now almost 10 years. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. De Gea has already made his transfer decision. He's preparing to leave Manchester United. And apparently we're set to pay off his huge contract. There's 3 clubs that are chasing De Gea. That's Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid and PSG. We've set the price for De Gea. We want £50 million. He's got like 2 years left on his current contract and he's on 375 grand a week. I did say there's a good chance that De Gea will go back to Spain. Obviously, we sell De Gea, then I can fully assure then Henderson is our number one. Anyway, this was the second question that was asked to Ollie. Hi Ollie, I was just wondering how tricky Granada are. United go in as favourites, but that's not uncommon. Have you spoken to friends at Molde to talk about their strengths? So his response to that was, I watch their games of course, and I've spoken to some of them friends at Molde who have given some good insight and good info. Of course, we've analysed them ourselves and we've watched their last few games as well. It's a team full of experience, unbelievable character and spirit, which you can expect from teams that come up. They got promoted in 18-19, great season. In 19-20, this is the second season. I think they're one of the teams in Europe that have played the most games, and to do that at this level so early has been impressive, and we know it's going to be a battle. So that's a fair response from Ollie. This was another question that was asked to him. Ahmad scored his first goal in the last round against AC Milan. Is he any closer to his first start for the club? Ollie's response to that was, yeah, of course he is. He's getting more and more used to our expectations and standards, the training level of intensity in the games over here. He did well when he played 45 minutes against Milan. Definitely a bright start, and we're gradually going to see him play more and more, and start might come now. It might come in a little while. I did mention that Amad Diallo Traore looks a very good asset for the first team squad. We got him in a deal worth £37 million. We paid £19 million up front and the rest was in add-ons. I'd like to see him make his first start as soon as possible. This was another question that was asked to Ollie. When it comes to resting players, Ollie, will this game give you a chance to rest some players, and how do you decide when a player needs a rest? Ollie's response to that was, no matter who we're playing against, we pick a team to win that one that we feel is good enough to win that game. Of course, this game is just the first half of the leg. They are 2 games and we've got league games coming up, big games as well, so that's always a conundrum and always a thought process on who's fit enough, who can last 90 minutes, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bounce, and who needs to have a rest in between to perform at the highest level. Everyone can do it, but it's about in what way does it affect your performance for the next one, and we always have a check in the morning of the game for how everyone's feeling. This was another question that was asked to Ollie. Mason Greenwood scoring with his head against Brighton was a nice development. He said you're working on it quite a lot. I know you mentioned Edison Cavani, but how do you go about training someone's heading? Ollie's response, this is a long response, well, I think if you look at players and you look at the news now and the issue with dementia and too much heading, I think kids nowadays train less heading than what we used to do. Also with the AstroTurf, the coaching is very on the ground nominated in Norway. Here, academies you don't see many. Cristiano Ronaldo like head, as you know from against Roma, 1, 2, 3 seconds hand up there. Head, that's a rare player now who's got that skill. Mason's goal was more of a poacher's instinct. He made a sharp movement. It's not like he hung in the air like a salmon. I was very pleased that he didn't hit it and he scored. He's practicing from crosses, but we've got loads of things to think about when you practice finishing. It's not just about heading, it's right foot, left foot movement, all sorts. But Mason has improved his awareness, movement in and around the box, and that's also due to Edison being at the club because he's one of the better ones to make those centre forward movements. Again, fair response from Ollie, and I've got to agree with him on that aspect regarding Mason Greenwood. You know, Mason Greenwood has really improved. I think Mason Greenwood's got a long-term future at Manchester United. This is his second season in our senior squad. Mason Greenwood made his senior debut in 2019. And he's been at United for a long time. He's been with us since the age of 7. Earlier on this season, Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract. He deserved a new contract reflecting on his good performances, and at the start of this season we give him that number 11 shirt. Solskjaer's been defending Mason Greenwood a lot this season, because at the first part of this season didn't really have a perception on him because he was in and out of the team. This was another question that was asked to him. I'd like to ask the manager if he's surprised that a team like Granada have got so far in the Europa League. Response was, no, not surprised at all. It's unbelievable how much attitude, desire, team spirit, values, how much that can do for a team, for players. They're very good at and better than most at the things that don't cost anything, which is just what I'm talking about. I mean, that as a compliment. I think the value of team spirit, camaraderie, organisation is so important for a team, but then they also have the individual quality and experience in a few players that will have been very important for them. But in football, you're never surprised when teams that get promoted and do well, because they get promoted for a reason. It's quality in the team spirit and moral in the squad and the manager's values. This was another question. Have you got an update on Anthony Martial and Eric Bay? And can I ask you, you've beaten 2 quite big clubs to get to this point. Is complacency a concern going into this one? Ollie's response was, Eric is still in the Ivory Coast. He needs a negative test before he can come back, so we're waiting for that one. Anthony has started his recovery, and if we see him before the end of the season, I'll be very surprised. But of course, he's determined to come back as quick as he can because they are important games for us towards the end of the season. And there's also the Euros. He's already come in. He's bright around the place. Disappointed he can't help us now, but of course he wants to work to get back as quickly as possible. Complacency, no. When you beat Real Sociedad and you beat AC Milan, you just get more the taste for it, and you know that you've beaten and you've jumped some very high hurdles and some very difficult opposition. Granada beating Napoli, going through the group and beating Molde last time is of course a sign of a team that has quality. We have set our eyes, of course, to get to the final, improve on last season. We want to win this tournament. So like I said regarding Anthony Martial, it looks like he's going to be out for the season. Solskjaer said that. after the 2-1 win against Brighton, because Martial sustained an injury whilst he was on national duty with France. This was another question. David has been the club's number one for quite a long time. How did he take that news on Sunday that he wasn't starting against Brighton, and what does he have to do to get a regular place back at the weekend? Ollie's response was, I cannot prioritise the Premier League or Europa League. Every game here is the most important one. The next one is the most important one. Every time I try to explain to players why they don't play in this particular game, what they need to do and what my plans are with them. All those discussions remain private. Of course, David has been a top keeper and is still a top keeper, and he's working to be ready when he plays. If it's Dean or David, I'm very comfortable with both of them to play, and I'm very happy that none of them are happy to not play. So this question's regarding Anthony Elanga. So can you say whether Anthony Elanga will be involved tomorrow on a bit on his development? So Ollie's response was, Anthony will be in the squad, he'll be on the bench, he's impressed when he's been in training with us. He was very unlucky 2 or 3 months ago when he got a bad injury, and he worked really hard to come back because he was just due to move into the first team squad back then. He has got some X factor, some attributes. It's not like a gift, but the pace and acceleration and speed that he's got, that's a given for winners. When he's got that speed, he's always got qualities I like. He's goal scoring winner. He's confident, he likes to beat men and can finish with his right foot and left foot. And he's got a great attitude. He has an appetite and hunger to improve. When he's been training with us the last while he's been here now, he's not been phased by it. He's confident. He's not just here for experience. He's ready to play a part if he has to. So yeah, that was Ollie's response to that. This was another question. How important is this game for United? Could you say it's possibly the biggest of the season? Ollie's response was, it's very big for us, of course. You know the glitch that the next game is the most important. We have to live by that principle. Every player knows that if you get a chance to play in a quarter-final in Europe for Man United, this is a massive game and it's an important game for you and for me as well. I'm the manager and I know that. Of course, it's just the first half in a 2-legged affair, but it's a big game for us. We have beaten Milan away, we have beaten Solskjaer away, which have given us the foundations to go through, or we've drawn both of them at home in the same leg. So we know how this game can give us even more momentum. So that was Ollie's response to that one. Pretty long press conference this. So this was the other one. When you come up against a side like Granada in the Europa League that you might not know as much about as the teams you play in the Premier League week in, week out, is it quite a fun challenge for the coach? So the response to that was, you watch Premier League games every weekend and you sit and enjoy it. You watch Match of the Day, you sit back and relax, and you get a picture of the opposition, and you only analyse really tight when you're going to play against them. I have to say, I haven't seen Granada too many times before Mulder played them. But when Mulder played them, I got interested because we might meet them. I watched them against Real Madrid and Barcelona, the big games, and I've been impressed by everything about them. They got promoted, had a fantastic season last season. This season you see they're up there. They beat Napoli. You start to open your eyes a bit and you think you have an idea of what you might meet. But when you analyse them, and it might be a little bit different, they've got some strengths that other teams don't have. They've got an X factor in many ways that you won't expect. This was another question. With your 2 goalkeepers, do you see a healthy dynamic and relationship in training, pushing each other? Is it a slightly different dynamic to, say, Peter Schmeichel, who was always number one. This was a long response for Molly. When you're a part of Man United, players are always going to come in, and they don't just come to fill the bench or the squad. Everyone has ambition to take your shirt. I was there myself as a striker. We signed Rooney, Forlan, Sahar, York, Sheringham. The aim for me is to say to the manager, I don't mind you signing these, but I'm still important for you. I'm still going to give everything I can to play. It's the same at right back, left back, centre forward or goalkeeper. David has had 10 fantastic years at Man United, of course he has, and he's had challenges. Sergio Romero, he probably played less games than he deserved. Dean comes in and he also gives it his all, and best because everybody wants that place in the team. David does as well. It's a healthy competition, of course it is. The nature of football and the small goalkeeping departments means they're a very tight-knit group. They work together in prep. They have different gym sessions, and so naturally they create a bond, and the spirit of the goalkeeping department is top. But as you say, it's a healthy competition. All of them want to play. That's the same with Lee Grant, Nathan Bishop, Romero. They want to play. So that's a competition I like. And this was the final question of the press conference. Rashford looks like he's played through pain sometimes this season, and so with his injury record and his back problem last season, are you worried about overplaying him? So Ollie's response to that final question was, I don't pick players when we know there's a risk. Of course, there's always a risk when you step onto the pitch when you play football, but if the physios and the medic advisors that this is too much risk to play him, I would never ever play a player if he's going to make it worse, or if it's a serious one. Marcus joined in training this morning, so let's see how he reacts. If there's any risk of making it worse, I'm not going to overplay him. His back has recovered. He's a tough one and he wants to play. He wants to give it his all for Manchester United. It's also a responsibility for the player to tell us, as he did on Sunday. He said, well, it's too sore, I've got to come off. So that was everything that was mentioned in the press conference. So yeah, this is a massive game for Manchester United against Granada. The Europa League is our only chance of winning any silverware this season. And I said Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United because that marks progress. Solskjaer has not yet won a trophy as Manchester United manager, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, so if we fail to win the Europa League this season, that'll be exactly 4 years without a trophy, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. You know, if we fail to win the Europa League, we know that Solskjaer's not going to get sacked, so I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he'll be Man United manager next season. I said he does deserve another season, because progress has been made by Solskjaer and that in certain aspects. I can assure we'll finish in the top 4 this season. There's a good chance that we're going to finish second in the league. If we don't finish second, we'll finish third. But obviously that's not good enough if we don't win the Europa League. If we finish second or third and win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say that represents a good season for Man United, and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. But yeah, we are coming into this game on the back of a 2-1 win against Brighton. It was a poor performance by Man United against Brighton in the first half, but I thought we improved in the second half. Obviously, goals came from Danny Welbeck. He scored Brighton's first goal. Definitely Wan-Bissaka was accountable for Welbeck's goal, because Wan-Bissaka lost him completely. And obviously our goals came from Marcus Rashford. It was a lovely side-footed finish. And obviously Mason Greenwood had scored the winner. Prior to the game against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final, we was 14 games unbeaten. Last season, we got to the Europa League semi-finals. We lost 2-1 to Sevilla. We won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. We beat Ajax in the final 2-0. I think we are actually considered the favourites to win the Europa League. And we are the favourites going into this game against Granada. Granada are 9th in La Liga. Their current manager is Diego Martinez. Granada lost recently to Villarreal 3-0. I think this is going to be the first ever time we're going to be playing Granada. I do know some of their players. Soldado, he's one of their key players. Soldado is a former Tottenham player. They've also got George Molina. He's one of their key players. Molina and Soldado are Granada's joint top goal scorers. They've also got Luis Suarez. He's one of their key players. I think he's actually out with injury. They've got Yangel Herrera. They've got Pepe Sanchez. He's actually doubtful for this game. Sorrow, he's injured. Lozano, he's injured. I think Charis, he's also injured as well. You know, Granada progressed to the quarterfinals of the Europa League by obviously beating Napoli in the round of 32 and they beat Mulder in the round of 16. We progressed to the quarters by obviously beating Real Sociedad and beating AC Milan. We've got a big game at the weekend against Tottenham, you know, in the Premier League. That's going to be a tough game. You know, Jose Mourinho will be reuniting with Manchester United. I'm expecting Tottenham to sack Mourinho at some point. If they do sack him, I think it'll be the right decision because Jose Mourinho has now passed his sell-by date. Mourinho has got a good pedigree behind him. You know, he's won like 25 major honours in his managerial career. You know, don't forget, when he was with us, he won the Europa League and the League Cup and the Community Shield, if you want to put that in the equation. Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Manchester United. You know, Mourinho's been Tottenham manager now over a year. He's got a contract with Tottenham until 2023. But to be honest with you, I think Tottenham made a bad mistake by getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino did well at Tottenham despite him not winning anything there. Pochettino endured 5.5 years at Tottenham. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. And don't forget, he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2019. Pochettino's obviously now PSG manager. Don't forget, Pochettino was once the favourite to take over at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has beaten Jose Mourinho's Man United manager, but Jose Mourinho's also beaten Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We lost 6-1 earlier on this season to Tottenham at Old Trafford. I think that was the first time we'd lost 6-1 since the 6-1 defeat to Man City back in 2011. Obviously, we're due away at Tottenham last season 1-1, but we beat them at home 2-1 last season. It is at Tottenham's ground, by the way, on Sunday. Tottenham have got some very good players that could cause us problems. Obviously, Harry Kane, he's their best player. They've obviously got Heung-min Son, he's one of Tottenham's best players as well. Dele Alli, he's one of their key players. Tottenham have also got Lucas Moura. I think Eric Lamella's still with them. Is Harry Winks still with them? Tottenham have got Steven Bergwijn. They've got Jedson Fernandez. They've got Giovan Lo Celso. They've got Ryan Sessegnon. Tottenham brought a few players in last year. They brought Reguilon in. They brought Bale in on loan. They brought Joe Hart in. They brought Holberg in. They brought Joe Rodon in. They brought Matt Doherty in. And they also brought Vinicius in. I do like Toby Alderweireld, by the way, for Tottenham. He's good. Tottenham have also got Ben Davies. They've got Sergio Aurier. He's been at Tottenham now for quite a few years. And obviously Hugo Lloris, he's one of their goalkeepers. Tottenham did let Christian Eriksen go, by the way, in January last year. Christian Eriksen endured 7 years with Tottenham, so he was a long-serving player. So anyway, guys, I'll be doing another video later on. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.